Now, to explain what this career mode is. I thought of this a month ago. I don't know if it's an original idea or not. It probably isn't, let's be honest, due to the limitations of FIFA, but it's an idea that I wanted to run with, and so here we are. It is the idea of the football world being flipped upside down. We are in the upside down, and to elaborate on that, first and foremost, I had to think to myself, well, we've taken bad clubs and built them up. We did create a club in the past. I want to use Liverpool, my team, my club. How do I make it interesting? By putting them and everybody else in League 2 and building back up. I'm excited for this, so allow me to showcase. First and foremost, one of the great things they added, I can actually use my boy, Jurgen Klopp. I can use him as my manager. I don't have to make some weird edited version of him. Yes, I could have used Ted Lasso, but it's Jurgen fucking Klopp. Of course I'm going to use him. God damn it. I did not put in AFC Richmond. I didn't do anything with Wrexham. It's just the tables are what they are. But allow me to show you then what everything looks like. Nuge, what's up? I'm sure City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, Spurs. It sure won't be them, right? Well, that's what I'm intrigued by, though. As the seasons go on, who does make their way back up? So let's take a look here. Actually, no, let's go take a look at the Premier League first. And this lovely, lovely alternate reality that we have here. So the Premier League, and Dewwinkle, thank you for the gifted. Essentially, the real-life League 2 is the Premier League. Look at this. The question is, who manages to stay, if at all? Like, how long does it take for them to finally have it be sorted through where everybody drops? Or eventually, will we discover that these teams manage to stay and actually manage to get built up? That is what the Premier League looks like. It is League 2. Now, of course, it's not perfect. 20 teams in the Prem, 24 and the other two tiers, the other three tiers, excuse me. So I did a couple of wheel spins to decide who the odd teams out were going to be. So it's not perfect. And for those that didn't make it into the Premier League, they are starting in the Championship. So AFC Wimbledon, certainly one of them. This is what the Championship looks like at this stage. Again, a combination of League 1 and 4 League 2 teams. And again, I'm intrigued to see who's actually going to be able to stay. Because, yeah, that is a factor in terms of like the TV money that might be there. And then League 1, again, obviously it is the Championship teams, with a couple of exceptions, again, that find themselves way down here. Poor Norwich, Sheffield, Watford, West Brom, Swansea. They got to battle their way back from even further down at this stage. Worth noting as well, we also inverted the other 4 big leagues. So League switched up with the League 2 teams that are there, which means down in League 2, you will find the PSGs, Lyons, Marseilles of the world who are going to have to battle their way back up. Same thing, of course, with the Bundesliga, which go Borussia Dortmund 2. That's who we're rooting for. Obviously, with the Bundesliga, though, it was easier because there's only 3 tiers. So the second tier stayed the same, and we just inverted 1 and 3, which is pretty nice. How long did this take to set up? Probably 45 minutes. It took a little bit. I have a little cheat sheet I could send you in terms of how to set it up. In terms of who replaces who. But yeah, Bundesliga 2 is going to be interesting because you would expect, someone to be able to hold their spot, but then you have the third tier, which again, your Bayerns, your Dortmunds, so on and so forth. So you get the idea of who's where. Same thing was done with Serie A. Now, was this my idea? Again, not an original idea. I can't say I saw it from anyone in particular, but I was thinking about how I wanted to use Liverpool this year. Because Liverpool, and again, we'll get into it, are in that interesting spot of, number one, obviously, they won the Premier League and the Champions League in the past couple of years, but they're in that rebuilding phase. So now I get to actually rebuild this team on a proper trajectory while also trying to get back to the Premier League. So it just kind of ticked all the boxes of building up a team again, but finally having an excuse to use Liverpool. Shout out to Juventus, of course, being back in the game. But yeah, so all those tiers, of course, Spain as well has been flipped over. So the second tier, again, it's going to be a dogfight from the likes of Barca, Real Madrid, Atleti, to try and get back as soon as they possibly can. There are going to be some teams that get left behind within this system, and of course that brings us to just the technicalities, of course, of what the EFL League 2 will look like this year, which is for the most part the current Prem. You have Wigan, Stoke, Middlesbrough, and Birmingham from the Championship. That also, again, I just literally went to wheel to side, spun the wheel. Those are the 4 Championship teams that get lumped in with the 20 Premier League teams to fill up the 24-team division. So the hope, as again, controlling Liverpool, is that we are able to, consistently work our way back up through these tiers and get to where we need to be. Obviously, we have our preseason tournament, international reach. We'll talk all about that. The youth academy. We'll talk about all this stuff here in a minute because I have some other little rules that I want to follow along with as we go through this. Again, thank you guys for the hype train to have started things off. I do appreciate it. So really quickly, transfer window closed up until January, so the roster will be the roster. Wanted to mention for these particular goals because, of course, we got to make sure that we don't get fired. In terms of the youth academy, nothing in particular that we have to do there. There is replacing 3 players from the team. I don't know if we'll do that, but thankfully, it's pretty much nothing that should get me fired. Does the game still put Liverpool in the Champions League? Yes. So I did have the ability to turn that off. I elected to keep that. I don't know if it would have had less realistic goals if I had turned it off, but I just decided for the hell of it to leave that on. Is AFC Richmond in this career? That you can put them in career mode. I elected not to for this, but you can very much put them in career mode by replacing team. So yeah, if that is what you want to do, you very much can do that. We will go back to worrying about training in a minute. Let's talk about the youth academy really quickly. So how we are going to handle this is, unless I have a goal to sign multiple people from a particular division, my game plan with the youth academy, because it's overpowered as hell, is pretty much limiting it to just signing 1 player a year out of the academy. Because again, the youth academy is very, very overpowered still, which is fun, but at the same time, it can be a bit too much. Same thing with the developmental plans. I'll be leaving everybody on balanced. I'm not going to train up work rates, weak foot, skill moves, because I find it, literally in, 5 weeks, I can get him up to high defensive work rate. I don't like that. I like the idea of this system, but I feel like the execution, since they've added this system into the game, doesn't quite work. So I'm going to try to avoid building up the team specifically through the youth academy and through training, just because it is way too goddamn overpowered, which does mean we are going to use scouts a little bit more. Now, obviously, there are things like FIFA to know who exactly is good and who isn't. But at the same time, I feel like, let's just use the little in-game scouting engine. We'll do it that way. And if we want to bring in players, let's actually have to recruit and bring in players that, for the most part are real. Like I said, I just don't necessarily want to abuse the certain in-game systems that are there. I think we saw that last year, which is crazy that last year was already like our creative team that we did. And that got out of hand very, 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 very fast. So, but, all right, let's scout out Portugal, because that's what Liverpool loves to do. Let's scout out Portugal a little bit. And in terms of instructions, again, we won't be able to bring in anybody until January. Let's just do the generic world-class option. J. Rose, thank you for another gifted sub. All right, let's see. First team quality, and then let's start looking a little bit more in depth. Give me a free kick specialist. Give me a penalty specialist. And let's go aerial, strong, and tall. Start off with that. You know, maybe get some new center backs into the mix. Aside from Virgil, he goes nowhere. So the youth staff. I will be once again allowing you guys to determine where we end up scouting. Again, unless there is a specific thing where it's like, oh, sign players from South America in a given season, we'll handle it that way. But let's see. Let's go ahead. Where subscribers have slightly better luck. All you got to do is type in the word hi, and you will have the ability to dictate. You'll be one of the 3 people to be able to dictate where we scout players from. Go ahead and hire this 5-star, because why the hell not? And we'll hire this 5-star, 4-star. So a reminder. Now here you go. Be ready for your options, right? If you get chosen, make it snappy. I want you typing in chat. Don't hit enter, but I literally want you to type in right now what you would scout, where you would scout, to be ready. Just like that. Be ready to go. But again, places that you can scout still. Canada, Mexico, the U.S., the vast majority of South American countries. What was it? Drake and Josh, the Peruvian puff pepper from South America. Let's see. From Africa, you got the main nations in Africa that happen to be there. Of course, China, India, Japan, Korea, Saudi Arabia, Australia, New Zealand. You get into Europe. There is a lot there. So quickly, breeze through. You see how many options we got? Do you see how many options we have? It's ridiculous. You name a country, odds are it's there. Let's keep this quick. Let's keep this simple. The first person to decide where our first scout goes is Let's Go Heat. Let's Go Heat. Where are we scouting? And for the most part, we're going to stick to any in terms of the type to kick things off. Latin America. Okay, well, you blew it. South America. Mouse Jesus. You also get an option. Let's see if you were more ready than Let's Go Heat. Let's see if you were more ready. Heat, you're allowed to pick it. You got to pick an individual country from there. Mouse says we're going to Mexico. So we'll spend 3 months in Mexico. Heat, you still have an opportunity to redeem yourself. Nick Roberts is the other man. He wants us to go to Wales. Find us the next Gareth Bale and have him on our team so he can't break my heart in a Champions League final. And Heat wants France. All right, let's do it. I have not seen an episode of Ted Lasso. I have obviously seen what he looks like in the game. I understand a lot of the references, because how could you not? But I have never seen an episode of Ted Lasso. Because too many damn streaming services, my man. And even then, not enough time in the day. So there we go. That is where I have heard it is fantastic. That is where we'll be scouting to kick things off. Like I said, I'm probably the classic Latin American country of France, right? Like I said, we'll probably only sign 1 guy a year. Why aren't you controlling Richmond? Because everyone's going to control AFC Richmond, and it's boring. The same thing happened when the Vegas Golden Knights or the Seattle Kraken were added into NHL. Did I use them immediately? No. I might have used Seattle immediately. I certainly didn't use Vegas immediately. Certainly not. The Squad Hub. Actually, let's go back to the Youth Academy really quickly. We know we can drop Stipe Dragovic. Go ahead and get rid of you. I can hit the right button. And Morten Koch, I don't know. You're out of there. We'll see if Patrick Heath, who was just handed to us, if he ends up being our one signing of the year. Brings us to our squad hubs. Chilson, we will be playing pro clubs later on tonight, yeah. Like, pretty much the next month of this stream is going to be career mode, then pro clubs. Pretty much every night. Let's see. Allison, obviously, going nowhere. The old Queeveen Kelleher going nowhere. Adrian's contract is up at the end of the year, so we'll just go ahead and block offers from him. Robbo's going absolutely nowhere. James Norris, I mean, again, no one's allowed to leave until January, but look to loan him out. Samikas goes nowhere. Joel Matip goes nowhere. Virgil goes nowhere. But like I said, by the time we get back to the Premier League, old Virg is going to be 34 years old. You know, 33, 34 years old. We're going to be able to utilize him to get us back to the Premier League as soon as possible. At the same time, we are going to have to find his replacement over the next few years that'll hopefully be able to help us, you know, further establish ourselves in the Prem once we get back there. Which is why Kanate, Joe Gomez, Chilson, thank you for the prime as well, buddy. That's why those guys are going nowhere. Oh, good old Nate Phillips. The old Nat Phillips. Honestly, he's going nowhere for now either. We're going to hold on to him. Trent, you go nowhere. We're going to teach you how to defend them. Calvin Ramsey, you're going nowhere. Fabinho, you're going nowhere. Hendo, you're going nowhere. Leader of men, you're damn right. Ox, I'm not going to let go of this season. His contract is up in 12 months. I don't think we'll be renewing that. I don't know if we're renewing the Naby Keita contract either. I got to be honest. Curtis Jones going nowhere. James Kane. We'll try to re-sign him. Let's delegate the renewal. 1-year extension. That's fine by me. Look to loan him out. Of course, we got Arthur Melo. Confirm that James Milner's retiring at the end of the season. We're only going to have Milner for 1 more year. That makes me incredibly sad. Let's see. Fabio's going nowhere. Harvey's going nowhere. Luis Diaz going nowhere. Let's go ahead and re-sign Gordon. 2-year deal. We'll loan him out. It doesn't have the fact that Mo has a new contract. That sucks. Way to go, EA. Thanks for that. We'll handle that in a minute. Okay, Bobby's contract is up too. Right. We'll have to handle those two. Obviously, Jota's going nowhere. Darwin Nunez going nowhere. All right, so what we're going to do, because it doesn't have those new contracts in there like it should, is let's go ahead and save and then handle those renegotiations, because I don't feel like getting screwed over for players that aren't leaving, you know? So let's start off with old Bobby Firmino. Look at us at the telephone. Jurgen Klopp, leader of men. His face looks weird from that angle, but that's okay. Oh, look at Bobby, you handsome devil. You handsome devil. Wants to be he doesn't even want to be in a crucial role. He just wants to be important. You are important, sir. The apple of my eye. At the very least, we're not letting him leave on a free, right? Like, we're gonna sign him, keep him for another couple of seasons, and we'll be okay. Honestly, we'll go 5 years. I don't think he'll take a 5-year extension. He wants a 1-year extension. Does the old counter system still work? Yes, it does. All right, 2 years, no release clause, which is perfect. Please name your price. Shit. We'll see what he thinks about 40,000. Give him a $100,000 signing bonus because I can. I don't know, Bobby. Is that good enough for you? Hopefully. Please don't get mad and run away. Okay, so Firmino's back. He's not going anywhere for another couple of seasons. Again, much like Virgil, use him to get us back into the Premier League and then hopefully find his replacements. You know, a little bit later on. I mean, shit, Darwin might be his replacement already. Mr. Mo Salah. What can we do? We're sitting down. Look at those pears. Only the finest pears from Mohamed Salah. Only the finest. Indeed, boss. All of the tables are inverted. So League 2 becomes the Prem, so on and so forth. Catcher, thank you for the 36. Mo, obviously in a crucial role with the team. Only wants to add 1 year. Let's switch it up to 2. No release clause is beautiful. And then payment-wise, son of a bitch, I gotta name my price again. Let's go. I mean, there's no way he'll accept 75 a week, will he? What's 75 a week? Big boy! Thank you for the 33 months. God, I miss a weekend, and you guys are just all over the place. Will Mo accept this? With a bonus. You hit 20 goals in a season, sir. That's an extra 500K. Mo, what do you think? How much more are you going to ask for? Perfect. There we go. The master negotiator, Mo Salah's back. As is Bobby Firmino. Those contracts should have been taken care of to begin with. Smoots! You handsome devil as well. Appreciate the lovely amount of support so far tonight, everybody. You are far too kind. So whose contracts? Arthur's? Obviously, we might have to recall certain players from loan to keep them. Adrian Milner, Ox, and Naby Keita's deals are up at the end of the year. And like I said, in terms of development, we're going to keep every single person on balanced because I still just find the dev development to be overpowered. Obviously not so much for someone like Phillips at this point, but even at 8 weeks to get high defensive work rate, I just don't want to use the system. I don't think it provides that much of a challenge, really. So the final thing to set up here before we get going is just what this team is going to look like in terms of the depth that we have. The depth that we have. Obviously, Kelleher will still be our second choice keeper. Gomez, Konate off the bench. Tempted to have Samikas in there, but we'll go with Joe. Obviously, we want Hendo and Naby up there for now. We are going to start Nunez at striker. Get Diaz, Salah, Thiago. Let's get Henderson into the midfield. I don't know if Harvey will be a first choice option, at least to start the season. I think that's what we're going to run with. Captain Henderson, of course. Everything else looking good. And then our second team for the lesser matchups. Be able to get those young guys into this lineup. So obviously Kelleher can start there. Sub in Adrian. We'll have Mr. Gomez and Ibrahim Konate. Let's bump up Phillips and Mr. Samikas. And honestly, let's put Gomez on the right. Phillips there. And we should be okay. We'll get Ramsey and Norris there. Shout out to Churn! Hearn. Damn it. I missed 2 days. I feel like I've lost my mind on this platform. Thank you for the Prime! Thank you for the 2 months. How the heck are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Let's get Jota over there. Switch you over to center forward for the sake of Mr. Firmino. We'll get Arthur over here. Get Naby into the mix. Get Milner at CDM. I'm trying to decide what to do with Gordon and where we want to play him. Because Harvey can play right wing. So have him in the start. I just don't know what to do about Fabio. Hopefully he still gets plenty of playing time. It's a bit of a risk. We might switch it up. But obviously for the second team, Milner is captain. Our free kick option. honestly should probably be Milner. He is just going to be like the outright leader of this second team, especially with him retiring at the end of the year. Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, the goal, like I said, is pretty simple. Win. The sooner we win the Premier League, the sooner we win the Champions League, the better. But we have a long way to go when the Premier League, just one more time for the hell of it, when the Premier League looks like this, we have a long way to go to battle back. And it is going to be an arms race for the first couple of seasons when it comes to the, when it comes to the typical big clubs in the Premier League working their way back. Like I said, I don't know. Top 3 teams make it. The 4th team has to go through the playoffs. Only 4 of these teams, between the Arsenals, the Chelseas, Liverpool, both Manchester clubs, Spurs, like, it's going to be a dogfight to get back, man.